You're listening to WRHU Radio, here with your host, Gary Duff, on 88.7 FM. Tonight, the Tuberous Sclerosis Alliance is hosting the Comedy for a Cure in New York City. Joining us is CEO Kari Rosbeck to talk about the event. Kari, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on, Gary.
Now, talk to us a little bit about what tuberous sclerosis complex is for our listeners who may not know.
Absolutely. Tuberous sclerosis complex is a genetic disorder that causes tumors to grow throughout the body, the brain, heart, kidney, liver, lungs. It's actually the leading genetic cause of epilepsy and a leading genetic cause of autism.
So how did you get involved with the Tuberous Sclerosis Alliance?
I got involved with the Tuberous Sclerosis Alliance actually 10 years ago, and I came on board to start all of our volunteer branches across the country. Today we have 32 of them. Very proud to say, one in the New York tri-state area, and we work with our local volunteers on incredible events like Comedy for a Cure. Our volunteers are often parents of children with tuberous sclerosis, adults living with tuberous sclerosis, family members, grandparents, caregivers, friends who have a great compassion for our cause and really want to see research and new treatment options for individuals living with tuberous sclerosis moving forward.
Now, many different celebrities have come out to support the organization. Julianne Moore, Rachel Ray, Jimmy Fallon, just to name a few. Are these personal stories for them?
Definitely with Julianne Moore. Julianne Moore got connected with our organization after meeting a father, Tommy Lindsay, on the streets of New York, and was just very moved by seeing his son, who at that time was 3 weeks out of brain surgery to control his seizures associated with tuberous sclerosis. And just the compassion and love that Tommy had for his son, little Tommy, moved Julianne. She's been with us now for 8 years, is an incredible advocate, has testified in front of Congress for us, done PSAs both for radio and TV, comes out to events, and really has made such a dramatic difference in our organization. And during the time that she's been involved, I have to say, we have grown from an organization that knew the genes associated with tuberous sclerosis to actually today having a drug that's been approved for the treatment of tuberous sclerosis complex, in particular a very fast-growing brain tumor called a SEGA. That's incredible progress, and we are indebted to Julianne for the awareness, visibility, and funds that she's helped us raise.
Now, she's hosted the event several times. Who are some of the performers that you may see if you go to the event tonight?
Oh, great question. Pat Hazel. Pat Hazel was one of the original writers on Seinfeld. He is so connected into the comedy community. He actually performed 2 years ago at our Comedy for a Cure event in Hollywood as a personal friend of Terry Hatcher's, and that's how he got involved with us. He's so brilliant and the nicest man that you will ever meet, one of the funniest men you'll ever meet. And then Arden Mirren, who was a regular on Mad TV, who now is on Chelsea Lately. And just a plug there, Chelsea Handler actually just performed at our event in Hollywood just on April 3rd. So it's nice to have that continuous comedy connection on both coasts and with comedians.
So how long does it take to set up an event like this?
We work pretty much year-round on these events, from obviously selecting the right site, recruiting the comedians, and getting involved our host committee of wonderful celebrities. And, of course, it is a fundraiser, so it takes time to raise the funds and build the crowd and have a great silent auction that will also be available this evening at the event.
You're listening to WRHU Radio, here with your host, Gary Duff, on 88.7 FM. Joining us is CEO Kari Rosbeck to talk about the Tuberous Sclerosis Alliance's event in New York City, Comedy for a Cure. Now, Kari, last year this New York event raised around $225,000. What are your expectations for this year?
Well, we hope to match that this year, obviously. We know that it's still a hard time in our economy, and we're so grateful for all the support that we receive from those that attend the event.
So how else also are you looking to fundraise? Because you do more than just this event.
We do. We do. We obviously do. We get grants from corporations. We get incredible support from individuals. and whether it's unrestricted really to help us meet the most pressing need in our organization, whether that's research, educational materials for families or individuals, or to help set up really groundbreaking research projects.
Now, I just want to go back a little bit to the tuberous sclerosis complex. How does somebody get this?
Well, you're born with it. And often it is diagnosed in infancy when babies begin having uncontrollable seizures called infantile spasms. They're really the most catastrophic type of seizure that a baby can have, and it's so important that we control those seizures early because they can lead to cognitive impairments later. 40% of the infants with tuberous sclerosis will actually develop infantile spasms. It's getting them under control as quickly as possible that makes a difference. Now, there are also adults that have lived their entire lives, and because of a kidney issue that will come up, will be diagnosed at 50. We've certainly seen that happen. Or mothers of children that haven't been diagnosed have a child and end up being diagnosed themselves. The gamut of tuberous sclerosis can be a very mild form to very severe, somebody who is unable to talk, who can't care for themselves, who are severely impacted by seizures.
Now, you mentioned a drug before. How is this treated?
So in tuberous sclerosis, there is an indication for a drug that was approved just last October. The drug is from Novartis. It's called Afinitor, and it actually works to shrink tumors associated with tuberous sclerosis. It works on the mTOR pathway, or mammalian target of rapamycin. That pathway, the TSC genes regulate. So by helping get that pathway under control, it shrinks the tumors associated with tuberous sclerosis. It's only been approved for SAGA, or very fast-growing brain tumors associated with tuberous sclerosis. But there are clinical trials utilizing either Afinitor or other mTOR inhibitors for kidney involvement, for lung involvement in tuberous sclerosis, topically for the tumors that grow on individuals' faces with tuberous sclerosis. But I do need to say, if you go off drug, the tumors tend to grow back. So as an organization, the Tuberous Sclerosis Alliance is very aggressively looking at combination therapies, different therapies, drug discovery, really to not only shrink the cells or shrink the tumors associated with tuberous sclerosis, but kill the cells so that we can improve the quality of lives of all those living with tuberous sclerosis.
Now, are there different repercussions for the different organs that this may affect?
Definitely. We are learning more and more about how each organ system is affected differently. So in the brain, with tumors or tubers, it can lead to epilepsy. With the tumors in the kidney, it can lead to renal failure, worst case scenario. Lung involvement happens primarily to women, and 40% of women with tuberous sclerosis will involve lung involvement. Now, in a rare portion of those women, there's a very aggressive form of LAM, and the only cure right now to that is transplant, and it's not even a cure, it's a treatment. So we really know that we have a lot of work to do, but there's definitely hope on the horizon, and this has just been a banner year in terms of seeing that hope.
So how many people have TSC?
1 in 6,000 live births are affected by tuberous sclerosis. We estimate 50,000 Americans, or 1 million individuals worldwide.
So what is your hope for the future of TSC?
My hope for the future for tuberous sclerosis and all those living with the disease is that we'll be able to have treatment so that individuals can really live a quality life. Much like those living with diabetes, though a chronic disease, certainly able to live with it and enjoy a quality of life. And of course, to cure the disease ultimately. That is our mission.
Now, Kari, where can we go to find out more?
Well, you can go to our website at www.tsalliance.org, or you can simply call our organization at 1-800-225-6872. We will also have tickets at the door, and the event is at the Metropolitan Pavilion at 125 West 18th Street. Everybody come on out and support a great cause.
Kari Rosbeck, CEO of the Tuberous Sclerosis Alliance. Thank you for joining us.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.